listening to Diminishing Returns, the podcast about sequels, prequels, spin-offs, and reboots. I'm Chris Scott. And he's not the beast from the east, but he is the pest from the west. It's my co-host, Mr. Alan Johnson, everyone.
How do, pod people?
Al, we are back. We have braved cold weather to be here to do another one of our in-betweeny bonus non-franchise episodes where instead of talking about a particular film or series of films, we will talk about whatever the fuck we want, but usually with a couple of segments that we always do. And that first segment is always, of course, news, where you will tell me the news about sequels and shit, and I will respond in the moment. That's how I'm trying to live, Al. I'm like a 48-year-old divorcee who started yoga. I'm just trying to live in the moment.
A few things popped up this week that are quite personal to me. So this is quite an Alan-focused episode of the news. Okay. So,
alright, well, see you later, guys. Thanks for listening. I know most of you will be switching off right now.
The biggest one for me is the Karate Kid Cobra Kai, which will not be a movie, unfortunately, but is going to debut on YouTube Red Band. Ralph Macchio and William Zabka are re-teaming as karate foes Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence from the 80s classic Karate Kid. Now, that movie for me growing up was so important.
Yeah.
So a trailer dropped for that online, and it looks like it's catching up with these guys now in their middle age, but now Johnny's returned to reopen the Cobra Kai dojo and going back to the mentor Kreese's strike fast, strike hard, no mercy style karate. Is there any love for you for Karate Kid?
I mean, I'm excited to hear that they were no longer Karate Kids. They were karate men. I loved the Karate Kid. Of course, I was a kid in the 80s. It's amazing. It's a film of which there are certain things just burned in our lexicon. The crane kick, wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
You know, it was the coolest thing in the world. I mean, maybe like a truer film would have been this old guy's getting, Daniel-san to wash his car and all that. Whereas the guys that are actually training karate just go out and murder him in that fucking tournament at the end. They're like, no, we've been practicing karate. What have you been doing? I was washing this guy's car. Like, that's not going to help you. Yeah. I don't know. I'll see what the reviews are going to be like because, frankly, I don't want to become an old man filled with nostalgia. But, I loved the Karate Kid when I was a wee guy.
I think that would work well as a Saturday Night Live segment or
a
an
Funny or Die sketch. That's what I thought it was at first, actually.
In fact, even the trailer was kind of almost enough for me. I was able to see the Daniel LaRusso is now the sort of Miyagi character teaching his son the sort of more naturalistic, almost pacifist method of karate versus Johnny Lawrence and the very aggressive, macho. It's, I guess, reflecting the sort of like times a little.
No, not having it. We're not saying that the Karate Kid reboot is fucking satire. That I'm putting my foot down.
It's a TV series based on...
It's the Karate Kid, man. I'm sorry. Listen, if I am wrong and the Karate Kid is actually a really nuanced portrayal of how we should allow kids to like find themselves and not be stuck to rigid societal templates, then I will eat my words. I'm just going to say, I fucking doubt it, Al.
Well, anyway, I think as an internet short, it would work like gangbusters.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned about it working as an ongoing serialized story. It couldn't sustain it over 3 movies.
No.
Then also for me, a kid of the 80s, Dungeons and Dragons. Paramount have been trying to coax director Chris McKay to take over their in-development Dungeons and Dragons project. Now, he's already on Nightwing for DC. I don't know if you know about Nightwing, the character.
No, I don't really know.
Dick Grayson, who was Batman's original sidekick. Robin, as he grew up, he wanted to be more of an independent hero, so he left Batman and went off to be a hero in his own right, and he became Nightwing.
And then they brought in another Robin.
Jason Todd came
like
in.
Menudo.
Yeah. So McKay is on the Nightwing project at the moment, which is a film I'm quite excited about. But yeah, I would love to see a reboot of Dungeons and Dragons.
I hope they have the bit like where they're at the roller coaster, like the cartoon.
The cartoon is brilliant.
Is it?
Yeah.
I have to ask, do you know what the word brilliant means? Because that's what I would use to describe Goodfellas. Now, is the Dungeons and Dragons TV show from the 80s as good as Goodfellas? That's what you're saying. Okay, fine. If you'd like to disagree with Alan, you can email us at diminishingpod@gmail.com.
What I mean is the cartoon understood the sort of premise of when you play the game, your imagination enters this realm. Okay. And so that was represented in the cartoon of that they're at a fairground and the ride takes them into this magical world.
I've had many rides that have taken me into a fantastical magical world. Dungeons are the vagina and dragons are my penis. Right, sorry.
Right, okay, yeah.
Continue.
So the cartoon understood something about the premise that the sort of, I think it's 2001 movie with Jeremy Irons and one of the Wayans brothers.
Oh yeah, of course I haven't seen it because I'm a grown-up that has shit to do. Evidently, you are not. Fuck.
That's awful. That's basically like a kind of like really terribly misjudged Sword and Sandals action adventure thing. So I really hope that this project does get back to more of the cartoon vibe.
Right, yeah.
I love Dungeons & Dragons, but I didn't play that. I played a more esoteric British version called Fantasy Roleplay.
Jesus Christ.
I was a half-elf highwayman.
Oh my lord. Does your wife know about this sort of shit?
No.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That makes more sense. Makes a lot more sense.
I'm sure if it came up in conversation, she'd just be like, oh, of course you did.
I mean, I just don't know where to start with that. So let's move on. What else have we got, Al?
As we're speaking of things that I'm a fan of, I'm a huge fan of Steve Martin. There has been a Netflix announcement about Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Nice.
And their special coming up.
Two great flavours that I'm sure will go great together.
Yeah, and so they have a special coming up for Netflix which is called An Evening You Will Forget for the Rest of Your Life.
Nice title.
That coming up in the same week as news about the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels remake, which is of course a remake of a French film.
Yep.
And so the title for the remake, starring Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway.
Oh, gender reversed.
Yep.
Very, very on trend, guys.
And it's called The Hustle. Like, now that we know what the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels remake is called, is that a film that you're interested in, to see the now female con artists out fleecing stupid men, hopefully?
I don't think I can be more excited to see the great comedic talents of Anne Hathaway.
I think she's got a nice comedic touch. It's more Rebel Wilson, who is a pretty one-note performer for me.
Yeah, I can think of almost nothing more obvious now. As like, oh, we're going to remake this comedy. Okay, let's just gender flip it and that'll do. I don't know. I guess I'd need to know who else is kind of doing it, who's the script by, who's writing it. Is it other people involved, or is this just a kind of lazy way to generate publicity? I don't actually have anything against either of those performers. I do not know that many films by either of them. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've seen a full Rebel Wilson film. You know, I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? It's easier to be a Rebel Wilson than a revolutionary Wilson. That's the real dilemma there. It's now a third go of this one film. I mean, maybe it'll be funny.
As well as Steve Martin, I'm a huge fan of Jackie Chan, and there's just been news through Chris Tucker. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
So he says that Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker have just signed off on a script for Rush Hour 4.
Yeah.
One can only presume that Brett Ratner's not involved.
Wow. I quite enjoyed that original Rush Hour.
Yeah.
That was pretty good fun. At no point did I think to myself, man, I hope they make another 3 of these fuckers.
Is anyone really clamouring for a Rush Hour 4? And also, as Jackie Chan's own roles are sort of like slowing down and becoming more...
Yeah, Jackie Chan must be like 85 by now.
I'm sure he's got mobility issues. Like, there's no way you can break that many bones and not be sore in the morning.
Yeah.
As much as I love Jackie Chan, Rush Hour 4, just like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels remake, it's just a thing that's going to
be
appear.
There. Yeah, it's going to be there. But it's not probably going to be good. You know, I'm not against it, but nobody's for it.
Exactly.
Nobody's looking forward to it. I'm really not excited about any of that, really.
More needless sequels. Bruce Willis, while on Tonight with Jimmy Fallon promoting Death Wish, is saying he's ready for Die Hard 6.
Well, to be fair, the last one was so good, I can't wait to Jesus Christ. You can listen to our episode on that last Die Hard. What was it called again? Die Hard...
Mission to Moscow.
No.
It was called Good Day to Die Hard.
Good Day to Die Hard.
There you go. That's how little impact it had on us.
Christ.
You know, we don't need another Die Hard film.
There's some things we don't need. 1, another hero. 2, another Die Hard film. As we discussed on our Die Hard episode, we now live in a world where me and you are not excited about a Die Hard film.
Yeah.
I would love if they could just get it right, give him a great send-off that at least, you know, was maybe true to that character. Mm-hmm. And we've discussed like ideas that have been floated and stuff like that. It'll be shit. It'll be boring, dull Hollywood fucking bollocks.
And finally, just to touch on a film that I'm sure is going to come back up later, Creed director Ryan Coogler is not returning for this Creed sequel. He initially knocked back that project because he took on the Black Panther film, but he's not coming back in because he's now got other projects that are going to get in the way of Creed. And also, like, he said that Creed itself was quite a personal project for him. It was a big deal for him to undertake that because of the relationship he had to the Rocky movies through his father. Like, Creed itself was quite a personal project, whereas is now he sort of feels that the next part in that story, he doesn't really connect with the material quite so much. Plus also, he's just made Black Panther, which is the biggest movie in the planet right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's getting other
He's going to be all right. He's not going to be sitting about in his office.
Plus, he's 31 years old, and to have made Fruitvale Station, Creed, and Black Panther, I mean, what a CV that is.
That's not bad,
At 31.
I was still living at home with my parents. Creed, as we've discussed here, is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'm not a person that grew up with the Rocky films, so I don't have that much of an emotional attachment to the Rocky films.
Yeah.
But loves Creed. I thought it was so good, so much better than it had any right to be. And now in the second one, they've got Ivan Drago's kid in it.
Yeah, apparently
Now,
so.
this just is it turning to Rocky babies. You know, like the Muppet babies. It's just like, hey, we're just going to have everybody's kid in it. You know, they're going to have the kid of the robot butler. You know, it just like
Polly's illegitimate children from various, like...
Yeah, absolutely. They'll have Burgess Meredith's illegitimate kid, who's now 90.
He's the same age as Burgess Meredith was, isn't it?
Hey guys, I'm young Burgess Meredith. Like, wait a minute.
Baby Mr. T.
Yeah. Lowercase T, we would call that person. You know, just call me T. Mr. T is my father's name. It does seem like, you've got this really beautiful, cool thing that to me was a perfect capper to the Rocky series.
Yes.
Like, it was like, good, you've done what almost never happens. Long running series, and you've actually went out and done it right. See you later, good work, wipe off the whiteboard, go move on to other projects. And now they're doing Creed 2, it's just going to cheapen that. I will probably go see Creed 2, and it might even be quite enjoyable, but I do think that the idea that it was Apollo Creed's son, and that it was like Rocky helping a guy who was his foe and
also,
then became his friend, and that, you know, that this
also
was something he felt responsible for.
Yeah.
It was it worked so well as a night story idea, and this time it's just going to be like, if he also dies, he dies. You know, like, all right guys, okay, guess we're doing this again. And so that's all our news that's fit to print.
That's all the news that's fit to
So
print.
guess we learned there that you think Dungeons and Dragons is as good as Goodfellas, and that you think that Karate Kid reboots is almost certainly going to be a wonderful satire on masculinity. You went bold. I'm not gonna lie, you went bold. So I believe that you have a Hollywood health update, Al.
Well,
I don't know, I just feel like that should have some sort of Hollywood health update with Alan Johnson.
So Kevin Smith, who this week suffered a massive heart attack while filming 2 Netflix specials. So in the break between the first and second show recording, he started to suffer nausea, chest pains, like all sorts of weird things were going on. He couldn't get comfortable, and he was adamant he was going to just take 5 or 10 minutes to rest and do the second show. Unfortunately, the people with him phoned an ambulance and were like, Kev, we think you need to go to hospital, which he did not feel he needed to do. He went off to hospital. They said he had a 100% blockage in, like, I think his left ulterior valve or something, and was operated on immediately. So he's had a massive heart attack at the point that he went to the hospital. So I just wanted to take a second to send well wishes out into the ether for Kevin Smith, who is now thankfully recovering in hospital after having had a massive heart attack. Now the guy's lost like 85 or 90 pounds.
Relatively skinny when I saw him.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight recently because he is conscious of his health. Best wishes to Kevin Smith.
I mean, you should have said like Snoochie Boochies Kevin Smith or something like that to make it on brand.
Right.
Kevin Smith is actually a very, very important part of my young life, as I've said before. Certainly Clerks, Mallrats, and Chasing Amy, I thought were great, and were great. Kind of like the kind, like that was the kind of kid I was. Was this? Me and my mates would joke about Star Wars, and so you're watching like young guys talk about Star Wars, which now, of course, is fucking everything that you see. But he was at the start of that wave.
Yeah.
I like this new segment where we're reporting whether people are going to die or not.
It's taking really, a gamble, hey?
I mean, this could end up being a segment that gets just really fucking sad. But that's Hollywood Health Report with Alan Johnson. Hi, I'm Chris Scott, the guy that you've just been listening to, but not the old guy. That's Alan Johnson. Anyway, if you're in or around Glasgow in March, I have 2 shows at the Glasgow Comedy Festival. The first is a stand-up show on the 16th of March downstairs at the Iron Horse pub. It's called 3 Men and a Tall Lady, and the event is on our Diminishing Returns Facebook page. There are ticket links there. It's £5 to see 4 newish stand-up comics from Glasgow, and we hope to see you there. And the second show that I'm doing at the Glasgow Comedy Festival in March is on Thursday the 22nd of March, again downstairs at the Iron Horse pub. It's an improv show with my improv group Improv Killed My Dog. We're doing a show called Improv Killed the Video Star. It's a film-themed comedy show, and hey, you guys like films and probably laughing, so why not come along? That is on the Improv Killed My Dog Facebook page. Just search for Improv Killed My Dog. Thanks for listening to this advert I've put into my own show, I'm a Dick. Wow, we've talked about people's health, but you know what else is healthy? The film industry. Because there's a lot of great films coming out, guys. How's that for a segue? Pretty good, right? So I think one of the great signs of health in this industry that we call film is, of course, the great trailers that we get to watch for upcoming blockbusters. I think we should now move on to our next segment, Trailer Talk.
Bum, bum, bum.
Want to do a bit of Jurassic World?
Yes, let's.
Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom?
I love a subtitle.
Aye.
Fallen Kingdom. There's 2 trailers for this film.
Yes.
I watched them in the wrong order. Didn't realise at the time.
Yep.
And the second trailer doesn't quite capture the Fallen Kingdom
The
aspect.
second trailer just shows you lots of cool things that you think I would rather have seen them in the film.
Yes.
Like, there was a bit where I went, because I did the same, so I watched it and I went, the new trailer, and I went, oh, that looks like a really kind of cool gag that would have been hilarious in the cinema. But now it is without context in the trailer, and so it's going to ruin that moment in the cinema for me. And then I watched the slightly older trailer where it explained the plot of this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, Al.
Yep,
Correct me
okay.
if I'm wrong, but I won't be. It seems to be they're going on a rescue mission,
Yes.
right? A rescue mission to the island from Jurassic World.
Yes.
Because that island, I guess, has got some sort of volcano or some shit, and it's about to
Volcano
explode.
eruption, yes.
First of all, why did you build it on an island that has a volcano on it? Okay, but even if we put that aside,
I guess if you're buying tropical islands, one with volcanic activity is going to go pretty cheap.
that's true. That's true. Typical.
But now that you've brought that up,
I
why
just
have
ruined it?
you built a fucking Disneyland-style dinosaur park on an active volcano?
I mean,
I hope there's a plot point in that where, something's happened that's made that dormant volcano active.
there's like a scene where there's like a health and safety guy who was really hungover when he was doing the sign-off stuff, and he was just like, yeah, tick, it's fine. Right, let's just put that aside. Bryce Dallas Howard is all like, hey, guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, we need to go, we need to go back to the island to save these dinosaurs because there's a volcano. And at which point I hope he went, do you remember why we had to leave that island? Remember how those dinosaurs were trying to kill us all? Fuck them! Like, at no point is anybody going, guys, you had to evacuate that island because you were all gonna die. You're just gonna have to leave them. But no, it's like, I guess we gotta go back. And it's because like he raised one of those little fucking velociraptors from like birth, I guess.
Egg.
Blue, right? Now, this is one of my least favourite fucking tropes in films, is when it's like, oh my god, we've just escaped this massive, awful fucking disaster, or bad guy killing people, and somebody goes, oh my god, there's a dog over there. At which point I in the crowd would go, fuck it, it's dead, let it die, right? I'm just one of these crazy people that believes humans should survive over dogs. And in this, it's like, oh, this genetically modified thing that we've just brought back that tried to kill you all. Oh, but look at it. It's an animal. Just let the whole island die. Even if there was people on the island, I would be like, nope. You know why? Full of fucking killer dinosaurs. Remember the killer dinosaurs? Remember your assistant? Remember your assistant that got killed in an awful way? It just, like, it annoyed me. However, it looked fucking cool.
Yeah.
It did look really cool.
This is like the Dirty Dozen meets Jurassic World. They're putting a team together to go like rescue these things. I like the idea. As much as I have issues with that concept of saving what's left on the island, because these are all just genetically... They sort of speak in the trailer about how these creatures have been around for hundreds of millions of years, like they were there before us. No, they're not. These are at best 21-year-old dinosaurs.
And like all 21-year-olds. Fuck them, right? That's a great argument. Like, if you bring something into this world and you give it life, does it have the same rights as everything else? That's really interesting. Oh, what things are you talking about? Oh, the island of monsters that tried to kill us.
Yeah.
Those guys. Well, at that point, if a dog bites you, you put it down, right? right? It's an island
the
of...
dog lovers that listen to this show really love your attitude towards dogs.
I'm not going to lie.
Particularly in cinema, but now we're finding out just in life.
Like, quite a lot of ex-girlfriends really don't like it either. I'm happy if you have dogs. I don't care about them either way. I don't want to see them beaten, battered, killed. But unless it's a John Wick film, in which case it's very important at the start that the dog gets killed so that we get some badass.
We need this.
Right? I'm not a monster. Right? Leave the dog. You don't risk your life, a sentient human being who has love, hope, and dreams for a thing that can lick its own balls. It's just, and that's also the way I feel about 21-year-olds.
I do like the idea that the dinosaurs are facing an extinction event. But what I liked in the second trailer, we have Rafe Spall, we have Toby Jones.
Yep, you know what? In each trailer, I went, oh, okay. The new trailer had Toby Jones, old trailer, Jeff Goldblum. I'm like, listen, you give me a snippet of two people I like, I'm in. So some of the images look cool. I said there was a great kind of little kind of gag moment that I'm not going to spoil in case you don't want to watch a trailer. And I went, man, I bet I would have loved that. Like, it just had a real moment.
I would say in the first trailer as well, there's a big moment that obviously seeing that trailer reminds me of like a big moment from the first Jurassic
talking about it as well. Yep.
And it's so I can understand, like, you're getting an audience to recognise that, but you want to hold that back. Like, that's a good beat to have in the movie.
All those things, there's a lot of those clips should have just been like cut just like 30 seconds before. Like, look, here's the threat. That's it. But don't let us go, oh, here's a bit that, I wonder who's going to get out of that. That's what's going to happen. Cool.
Yeah, I don't want to see setup and payoff in the trailer. That's
poor trailering.
Poor trailering,
right?
Yes.
So I think we can both agree, poor trailering on both of the trailers.
Yeah.
However, we're both in, right?
Yeah. I won't give away my impression of Jurassic World here because we'll do it soon. But yeah, I'm in for this.
We're both in for Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Speaking of old dinosaurs, Michael Douglas is back in Man and The Wasp. I'm fucking segueing like a motherfucker today. Yep. Michael Douglas and Evangeline Lilly is his daughter.
Yeah.
Who is going to be the Wasp, the new addition to the Ant-Man team. She was in the first film, she's getting the suit and all that shit.
She's getting heroed up here, yeah.
Evangeline Lilly, right?
Okay.
Amazing and Lost.
Okay.
I really like Lost, right? Apart from obviously not the final season, I'm not an idiot. Fucking bullshit. But, kind of thought, she's going to be in loads of stuff. Mm-hmm. She wasn't.
No.
It's like the first thing I can remember seeing her in after Lost. I mean, she must have been in the odd, but nothing.
I know I've seen her in something else, but I can't think now. But yeah, for the cultural impact that Lost made, I am surprised at how few cast members have actually gone on to other bigger things.
Hurley's only done that Weezer album. Who's the guy who played Jack?
Matthew Fox.
Have you seen that?
Alex Cross.
The Alex Cross film. He's in that
with Medea.
Yeah.
Medea's Alex Cross.
It's brilliant. Like, he is putting in, like, trying to put in the performance of a lifetime in it, but it's like ridiculous. Like, no matter what he's trying to do, it is like the worst fucking thing ever. The plot kicks off with him going to like an underground cage fighting ring.
Yeah.
I think he then has to, if I remember correctly, persuade them to let him have a go at fighting in the cage, wins the cage match, and then seduces one of the members of the crowd. And that's how this whole cunning plan and it's like, that seems like a lot of steps. Like, I don't even know, did you even need that middle step, mate? And he's like all buff and worked out and he's got tattoos. And about halfway through, I suddenly realised I think he was doing an Irish accent. I was like, what the fuck is this, man? Like, I don't know, is Alex Cross a fucking remake? Or
it's a sequel, but it's...
Because I don't know, because there's a lot to talk about in that, but just that's a little taste of how mental that film is.
I have a recollection of you telling another anecdote about that.
So basically, my friends watched that film and said it was the worst film they'd ever seen, and I maintained that it was Magician's Robin Banks was the worst film I'd ever seen.
This is where it's come up,
And so I one day I saw it was on Channel 5 and I was like, fuck it, man, and I did, and I live tweeted it as well. That's how excited I was about it. I don't think it's quite as bad as Magician's Robin Banks, but my lord, it's terrible, but in a wonderfully terrible way. So I don't know if it's something we should maybe look at, because there's a lot to chat there.
I enjoy the other Alex Cross films, in that 90s.
Along Came a Spider, is that one?
Yeah, I guess it was the knock-on from the massive success of Silence of the Lambs. Suddenly, like, psychological thrillers became a big thing. So Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider. Morgan Freeman as Alex Cross, and now latterly, as I said, Medea. Yeah,
I always sort of enjoy thinking about the madness of that film. There's a lot of great stuff. But Evangeline Lilly has only been in like one film, but until now, which is the sequel to that other film. Yeah, it looks fun, it looks great. I mean, I like the first one. It's going to be fun.
It looks fun. And I think we need that. Like, I'm happy to have serious superhero fare and flighty, frivolous, fun superhero fare. I don't need everything to end in a massive battle that has the safety of our planet as the stakes.
You want the My Dinner with Andre of superhero movies.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
But like, I really liked the original Ant-Man because it was mostly a heist movie, and the bits that I sort of didn't like about it was when it did fall into the tropes of we need to have a big battle to round out this story.
Right. Okay, it's just, it looks like fun. I'm in for it. You're in for it. Makers, Marvel, they're always at least reasonably good fun.
Oh yeah.
So we're both in for that. Next up, I guess we've got Mission Impossible: Fallout.
My only regret for the makers of Mission Impossible 6 is they didn't call it MI6 and tie it into British Secret Service.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a missed trick right there.
Yeah.
Come on, makes the Mission Impossible.
That trailer just had stunts, action, the most expensive mustache of all time. I mean, it's just exactly what we want.
Seeing that mustache now,
Like, no wonder.
I go back to my point. Why didn't they just give Superman a beard and mustache in Justice League?
If you don't know, I'm sure you do if you listen to this. Obviously, the actor that plays Superman, he was filming Mission Impossible 6. When they had to get him in for reshoots, he had this moustache that the Mission Impossible filmmakers and studio would not allow him to shave. So they had to digitally remove his moustache, which gave him a weird mouth, weird gub throughout the whole film. Which, when I saw that moustache, I went, fair dues, that's a really nice moustache. Like, it is worth the millions that they had to. Like, if I had made an actor grow that moustache, I'd be like, wait, what? No, you keep him that, because that is fucking
That's a prize winner.
So yeah, great moustache. Looks like cool stunts. I like the fact that one of the characters mentions like how many times his government have turned their backs on him and disavowed him, because that happens pretty much every film. I think the Mission Impossible films over the last couple of films have actually been maybe the two of the best, and I thought the last one was brilliant.
Well, you know that I don't like this franchise. I don't like the first film.
We can't talk too much about one of them, because guess what, guys? We're going to be doing Mission Impossible 2 MI2, or I like to call it MI Woo, the John Woo entry in this franchise at a later date to coincide with, funnily enough, Mission Impossible 6.
To coincide with the cinema release of this film.
So, I mean, we're going to be talking more about this. We're going to focus on the John Woo one, because I think that has the most mad... And I'm not watching all fucking, like, 5 of the fuckers, frankly, in a week. So, we're going to focus pretty much on the second one. Look out for that in the coming months. So, I'm 100% in, because I've really enjoyed the last two of these. You're probably on the fence or a no?
Actually, I'm in. This footage in this trailer looks
awesome,
stunning.
doesn't it?
I mean, it's for
Just a
me,
fight in a toilet or something that looks fucking amazing.
That fist fight looked brilliant.
Right?
The fact that all of the punches and smashes through mirrors and stuff are all synced up to the soundtrack.
Look, I love seeing a man
powerful.
getting pounded in a toilet. Right, guys?
Against my, usual pattern for these things, I am in for
Brilliant.
Fallout.
Yeah, we're not going to fall out over Mission Impossible
Yeah.
Fallout. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm in. Looks great. So our last trailer for this trailer talk, we've got to talk about it. Solo, a Star Wars story, the young Han Solo film. This is a theme that's developed. We've had young Ivan Drago, and now we're getting young Han Solo. Have we talked about this in the news?
We haven't, no.
But
no.
There's been quite a lot of reports of tumultuous stuff happening here.
There's been ins and outs, and going back
Ins and outs, ups and downs, in and arounds.
At one point, the co-directors of the Lego film were on board to direct this project. Creative differences, will we call it, between them and the lead
Kathleen
star.
Kennedy, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe that she's like the big boss. She's the major domo of the Star Wars machine. And from what I've read, I'm not going to pretend I've got an inside source. Who's my inside source? Let's just say he said, me's are going to tell you about things. Okay, I wonder who this is. But the story that's been leaked to the press is that they were unhappy with the kind of improvisational and woolly nature of the filming, and were worried that, they weren't actually going to be able to make an actual fucking film out of it. And so Chris Lord and something Miller, they got the boot, and they brought in basically the safest of all safe pair of hands, Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Who actually has made some very good films, and also, others. But the point is that this man knows how to bring in a fucking film, and will make a good Hollywood film. So I don't think that, necessarily it's a bad thing. Looking at the trailer, I'm not going to lie, I thought it looked fucking really fun.
Yeah, the concept of a young Han Solo story does not excite me, but seeing this trailer, it looked brilliant. It's a classic, I'm putting a team together.
That's exactly what I put. It says, hey kid, I'm putting a team together, and one of that team's going to be Han Solo. It's Woody Harrelson, Chewie, fucking Khaleesi.
Lando Calrissian, as played by Donald Glover.
Right.
I mean, holy moly.
Aye, the soundtrack was cool. Had this kind of throbbing synth thing.
Kind of weird, a bit of distorted guitar, which is not a sound you hear in the Star Star Wars musical universe.
Yeah, this wasn't your mama's fucking Star Wars trailer.
No.
It just looked cool and fun. Now, I guess here's the thing. As much as I used to be really invested in this universe, and still am in places because of how much I really loved the last film, these spin-off films, weirdly, I'm not as I'm like, yeah, if this is going to be like a breezy, fun romp with Han Solo as the main character, I'm down with that. And I hope like the fandom, who we've noticed recently can be absolute cunts,
Oh, yeah.
kind of just go
yeah.
like, if this is just a good, fun, entertaining romp, we've won a watch. And one of the other rumours is that the lead actor, they had to get an acting coach and stuff like that. Now that's
Which is
interesting
really
because,
odd because he's in Hail Caesar.
well, that's what I was going to say. He's been in
And
other
he's-
good like films and been
He's
brilliant.
brilliant in Hail Caesar.
So is that the lack of a strong hand on the tiller to let him know what his performance should be? You know, so I think that's been very unfair that that's came out. And obviously I'm repeating it now because, listen, I just love gossip. I fucking love gossip.
Well, we did talk recently about having the gossip section. I think, you know, maybe there's more fat on the fire.
Honestly, man, you know what I mean? It's brilliant. It's going to be like LA Confidential on the QT. But yeah, so there isn't a lot of him in it, but there's just some nice wee bits, nice wee looks, and like, yeah, this is young Han Solo who is going to be roguish fun and just full of piss and vinegar. I'm into it. It looks great. Young Han, Lando, and Chewie having an adventure. What a world we live in.
Yes, the big knock-on effect of The Last Jedi basically said in the Star Wars universe, all bets are off. This film is playing it slightly safer than Rogue One, where Rogue One had to really neatly get up to really well-established events. This at least has kind of stepped back a little bit and it's got a little bit of breathing room. So, you know, there's more potential for storytelling we know
this doesn't
these
need to
characters
lead us
go.
in immediately to meeting Han Solo in episode 4. So we're fine. As I say, I was like, oh God, there's been all these fucking blah blah and all these reports from the set and things going on. And then I saw a trailer and I went, I mean, if it's as fun as the trailer, everything's going to be golden. Relax. We're both in for Solo. I mean, we would have watched it anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest.
That franchise now is, I will watch whatever comes out, whether it works, who knows. But yeah, I'm in.
Again, a returning theme of this. That'll be coming out in a few months itself. Look out for perhaps a Star Wars themed episode around that time.
I think what this trailer talk is for us
It's like almost like a preview. It's like we're given a snippet of how would we describe that?
It's sort of setting up some kind of event that's going to
Go on.
in the future.
Right.
So it's almost like we're given a little taste, a preview of something that's going to come in a larger form later.
Got it. It's an advert. Brilliant.
There you go.
That's us done. Thank you very much. After news that wasn't exciting, I think we were in for everything.
Yeah.
So that was, of course, Trailer Talk.
Bum, bum, bum.
It is, of course, one of our in between the episodes. This is where we just sort of go through some recommendations.
Yeah.
I believe you have a recommendation tied into some very sad news.
Yeah. News today that comedian and activist Barry Crimmins has passed away after a short battle with cancer. He is the subject of my film of, I think, 2016, which is called Call Me Lucky.
I still haven't seen that yet.
Which is a documentary about his life. And if you haven't seen that, I would heartily recommend seeing that film.
I saw him at the Edinburgh Fringe last year.
Oh, really? Wow.
Absolutely very sad news.
Look, I'm going to keep this thing going by bringing up, by far, one of my best friends, both as a human being and as a comedian. He's a great comic, and I've seen him on television, Evening at the Improv, and all over the globe. I love him because he cuts to the bone with what he says. He's a great comic and soon to be somebody that you like. To a nice round of applause for Mr. Barry Crimmins.
Glasgow is currently like the Overlook Hotel. We're snowed in here. Everybody's...
And also, like, I kissed an old lady.
Sooner or later, I'm going to try and kill my family with an axe. But we've had several snow days here in Glasgow, so all I've done is watch movies. Like this morning I watched the Basil Rathbone Hound of the Baskervilles with Elliot. It was great. And the fact that he sat through a black and white film.
Yeah. How old's he now? Is he 8?
He's 8,
just very recently.
So yeah, kids and black and white movies are a bit of a mix. But then, just before you came round, we were watching Bride of Frankenstein.
Good. There's the next generation of film nerds that you're fostering there. I'm not sure if that's good parenting. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not.
So anyway, I have answers to questions that were were raised in a previous trailer talk.
Jesus Christ, okay.
I have watched the 4 Insidious films. Ask me anything.
Why? Why did you do this, you fucking idiot?
I needed answers. No, I heard Lynn Shay on the Switchblade Sisters podcast.
That's the start of the films.
Yeah, during the podcast, she speaks about her role in the Insidious films. Now, in the 4th film, when we watched the trailer, we discussed that it was a prequel and that she was in it, and you said, I presume she's in all of the films. I can say, yes, she is in all of the films,
right.
But the timeline on this series is bonkers. So the first film takes place, the second film...
The first film takes place. Thanks for your answer there, Al. Well done. Good fucking film criticism.
No, we get the first film, then the second film, but the second film has elements in it that like directly ties into random events of the first film, and I don't know whether these films were conceived to work like that, but the first film, second film are quite clever how they sort of jigsaw together.
I'm not going to lie, listener, there is like bits of red string and chalkboard behind him right now.
Oh man, I wish. And then the third film is also a prequel about how the Lynn Shay character gets to where she is as a spiritual detective. Then the fourth film is yet another prequel which predates the... Oh my god, so convoluted. The timeline on this series is bonkers. Watch the first two, but man, I was right in my assumption that they are pretty slick, well cast, well put together horror films, but really relying on jump scares. Just, it's not the kind of horror film I like.
Right. Well, that's Alan's new segment, Insidious, ridiculous. Okay, wow, so you watched all four of the Insidious films, a frankly crazy indictment of your life.
Yeah.
But so your recommendation is not to watch those films?
No, my recommendation is to watch The Belko Experiment, which has just popped up on Netflix, which is an amazing horror film.
It's about Phil Silvers and his guys, the Sergeant Belko. Come on, guys. All right, fucking sodges.
Written by James Gunn, the cast is stacked full of like classic James Gunn faces, but it's a super gruesome horror film. It's like an American take on a corporate battle royale. It's great.
Sounds great fun, and it allowed me to use a reference to a 1950s sitcom and a terrible pun joke. So I'm already, going to think fondly of it. I might check it out.
Well, have you, unlike me, watched anything?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to watch stuff that might be good. Call me some sort of crazy weirdo.
My other terrible recommendation shouldn't take away from how great Call Me Lucky and The Belko Experiment are.
That's true. You did drop into actual things to watch. For me, like everyone else, I've watched Black Panther, which was great fun.
Yep.
Wakanda Forever. Loved it.
Undeniable blockbuster. And again, we have idiots trying to decry how it's destroying superhero movies for the white man.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
crazy.
What kind of weirdo doesn't like you see, like, everybody in that film is fucking super cool.
Yes.
Like, they've picked, can we just get you all to be, like, big, beautiful badasses? Uh-huh. Do you know what I mean? The guys, the ladies, everybody in it's just fucking kicking ass. It's great. I loved it. I thought it was really good. I liked this kind of Afrofuturism thing. That whole aesthetic was really nice. I thought it was great. There was a really interesting thing about we've seen kind of pop in slightly more recently with Marvel films. I think they were aware that they did have a villain problem, and that so their villains recently have slightly better motivation, and I think this is one of the best ones. Michael B. Jordan, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
I mean, just literally as soon as he comes on the screen, this guy's a fucking movie star. He's a rock star in the fucking film world. He's just brilliant. Looks cool as fuck. He's got a great haircut. You know what I mean? And just like the costume choices just looks great. But his actual motivation for what he does in the film is fucking sound. Like they really thought about it, and it's made a nice counterpoint to the Wakanda story. A really interesting thing. And I think what I like about it is that we are pro representation and stuff here. We do think representation matters. And I think what I love about this is that they have made a film that I think, for want of a better phrase, the fact that it's young black men making this film about young black men without it they don't have to lay it on too thick because they know this story. This is a story that's important to them. Yeah. And so it actually has a real lightness of touch to it without going, hey guys, theme time.
It's not getting bogged down and preaching to you. Yeah. Really. So this is a message movie.
Yeah. For the people that need that, it's there for them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for me, it doesn't make a difference. So that's the way that's what the world should be like. It's a fucking beautiful thing. It's a great comic book movie. It's really comic-y. You know, it's a secret city. It's all that
colourful. It's big.
Yeah.
Like it's
it's very comic-y.
Yeah.
You know, which I think is great as well.
And coming after Thor Ragnarok, it's got that big Kirby world
building. Yep.
Yeah.
It's one of the better Marvel films, and all the Marvel films are pretty decent.
But also, off the back of this, there's a lot of debate about mainstream media saying how it's the first like black superhero movie.
Blade.
Yeah, Blade, Steel, terrible movie. Even Blank Man. You know, there have been other black superhero movies before, but Blade is the one that I do think when that came out, that was amazing. I mean, that not only had like a black lead, but that movie kicked off this Marvel renaissance in the cinema.
I haven't seen them for ages, but Blade 2 are like fantastic films.
Yeah, Blade 2 is great because
friend of the show, Alan Scott, hates Blade 2.
Why?
Because he's a prick, Alan. If you're listening, Alan. This is where we're falling out, man.
Maybe it's just too different to Blade that it's a jarring shift.
I think he thought like there was a bit of it where it was like the science of it was mental, and I was like, I think you're watching this.
Come on, you're dealing with a vampire that can walk in daylight, and you know, like vampires that feed on vampires.
Cool shit. That's all you want. No, so I saw Black Panther. I haven't fucking seen anything else. I don't know if I have, because I've basically been really busy recently. I had one day off in about 10 days, and I had to spend that watching fucking 50 Shades of Grey for our fucking podcast last month. If you haven't listened to the 50 Shades of Grey, do it, because I had to spend my one night in, and if you really want to appreciate the work we do, people were told to stay in their homes today, and I came out of my house. I've come out of my house
a red warning
to walk to Alan's and sit in his basement. It's fucking freezing out there in the snow. I've defied health and safety warnings to make this podcast where we do dumb dick jokes about films. That's how much I care, and all I ask of you people, all I ask is that you subscribe, give us a good rating on iTunes, 5 stars, you know the score, wherever you get your podcasts, and recommend it to your friends. Send them a link to the show. As always, you can get in touch with us on email at diminishingpod@gmail.com. You can get us on Twitter at diminishingpod, on Facebook, Diminishing Returns Podcast. You can get us at diminishingpod.wordpress.com. You can search for us on YouTube. We're an independent podcast, so please do, as we say, rate, subscribe, and tell your friends. Send them a link to the actual show. Don't let them download any poor fucking substitutes. Alan, our next set of films. Have we got a lovely pair that we're going to look at?
A solid pair in Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider Cradle of Life.
The two Angelina Jolie fucking Tomb Raider films, which, don't be wrong, I will make those same breast jokes on the actual episode. I have seen one of those films. I don't think I've seen the second one, and I remember literally nothing about the first one.
I thought I'd only seen one, and then I read the synopsis for both, and it turned out I've seen them both.
Excellent.
Left no mark
on. So we'll be watching. If you want to watch along with us, you can see these two cinematic classics.
Yeah, do your homework, guys. Come on.
If you want to know what it's like to be Chris or Alan, basically take out all the joy in your life and watch terrible films. Once again, we thank you, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Have you seen Fruitvale Station?
No. I've heard it's great.
That is an incredible movie.
As a Scottish person, anything with the word fruit in it turns me off. If it was called Greg's Vale Station, Steak Pie Vale Station, other cliched fat stuff, guys, because I'm Scottish.